Imagine this. Every morning you wake up not just to your alarm, but to a silent battle already raging inside you. A war between who you are and who you could become. On the surface, everything seems normal, but beneath, lust creeps in like a shadow, sometimes subtle, sometimes overwhelming. It distracts you, drains your energy, distorts your focus. It promises pleasure, but delivers emptiness. And the most terrifying part, it doesn't wear armor or carry weapons. It hides behind your thoughts, your habits, your cravings. We live in a world that glorifies indulgence. Everywhere you look, ads, movies, social media, lust is sold as power, freedom, even confidence. But what if we've been lied to? What if true power isn't in chasing desires, but in conquering them? History is filled with brilliant minds, powerful rulers, even spiritual leaders, brought to their knees not by enemies, but by their own impulses. And yet this is the war no one talks about. Freud, Jung, the Stoics, they all knew. Lust left unchecked is a thief. It steals not just time, but purpose. Not just clarity, but your very sense of self. But here's the hidden truth. Lust isn't your enemy. It's untapped energy. The moment you stop running from it and start mastering it, everything changes. You stop reacting. You start creating. You become unstoppable. What could your life look like if you weren't controlled by impulse? What dreams could you pursue if your energy wasn't constantly hijacked by temporary pleasure? Ask yourself, are you the master of your desires or their slave? This isn't about repression. It's about redirection. About taking the same force that distracts and using it to build, lead, invent, evolve. Your mind was made for more than addiction. Your will was built for greatness. If this resonates with you, if you've ever felt this internal war, I want to hear your story. How have you battled with temptation? What has helped you stay in control? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because when we talk about the war within, we give each other the strength to win it. Have you ever asked yourself, where is all my energy going? Not just physical energy, but your motivation, your fire, your focus. What if I told you that the quiet thief stealing it isn't outside you, but within you? Lust, in its modern form, is no longer just desire. It's a digital addiction, a constant pull on your attention, rewiring your brain in silence. It's the late-night scroll, the dopamine hit, the fantasy loop that feels harmless, until you wake up weeks, months, years later, wondering why your dreams are still out of reach. Let's be honest, we don't talk about this enough. Society normalizes indulgence, even celebrates it. But neuroscience now proves what ancient wisdom always knew. Unchecked lust dulls the mind, weakens willpower, and clouds purpose. Every time you indulge in momentary pleasure, especially when it's artificial or excessive, your brain adapts. It starts craving more, but feeling less. That's the cruel trick. You're chasing satisfaction, but finding emptiness. And it's not just about sex, it's about control, or the lack of it. Imagine the version of you who reclaims that power, who breaks the loop not by force, but by clarity. What could change if you weren't ruled by cravings, but fueled by purpose? Would your creativity return? Would your confidence rise? Would your relationships deepen? The truth is, the cost of indulgence is higher than you think. Not just in energy lost, but in potential never reached. It keeps you in survival mode when you were born for mastery. But here's the hope. Every day, every urge is an opportunity to choose differently. You can rewire your brain. You can reawaken your ambition. The same energy used to feed lust can be transformed into power, focus, and purpose. This is not about guilt, it's about awareness. Not about shame, but growth. Have you noticed this in your own life? Have you felt that fog, that dullness, that craving that never really ends? Share your experience in the comments. What's helped you take your energy back? You're not alone in this fight, but the first step is calling it out. Lust isn't just a feeling, it's a force. And if you don't master it, it will master you. Have you ever felt like your thoughts are no longer your own? Like your focus slips through your fingers even when you want to stay disciplined? That's not weakness, it's programming. Modern neuroscience confirms what sages knew centuries ago. Lust doesn't just tempt you, it rewires your brain. It hijacks the same neural circuits as addiction. The more you feed it, the more it owns you. And before you know it, what once gave you a quick thrill leaves you numb, distracted, and unmotivated. Let's stop pretending this is harmless. In the age of instant gratification, lust is no longer a whisper. It's an algorithm, a business model. It's engineered to keep you chasing empty highs while your purpose quietly slips away. When you scroll endlessly, indulge compulsively, or retreat into fantasy instead of facing your goals, what you're really doing is handing over your focus. Every click, every craving is reinforcing a loop, and loops shape lives. But here's the secret most people don't know. The brain is plastic. It can change. It wants to change. And the very circuits hijacked by lust can be reclaimed and turned into your superpower. That same surge of energy, it can become laser focus. That obsessive drive, it can become creative fire. The process is called transmutation, and it's real. From Tesla to Da Vinci to monks and mystics, those who mastered their impulses didn't become less human. They became more powerful. So ask yourself, what's been stealing your spark? Is it really just procrastination? Or are you stuck in a feedback loop of empty pleasure? What if your brain wasn't fogged by fantasy, but clear, focused, driven by something deeper? You're not broken, you're rewired. But you can rewire again. And when you do, the results are staggering. Heightened motivation, deeper emotional connection, restored drive. This isn't just about lust. It's about reclaiming your mind. Have you experienced this tug of war? Felt the mental fog of indulgence or the freedom of breaking the cycle? Drop your story in the comments. Let's open up the conversation no one wants to have, but everyone needs to. Because once you understand that lust isn't just a feeling, it's a rewiring, you finally hold the key to take your power back. What if the very thing you've been fighting, lust, isn't your enemy, but your untapped energy source? What if desire at its core is simply raw power, waiting to be mastered? Most people think resisting lust is about suppression, denial, a joyless life of saying no. But that's a misunderstanding. True self-mastery isn't about living in fear of desire. It's about understanding it, transforming it. Lust is energy, fire, and fire doesn't have to destroy. It can forge. The greatest minds in history knew this. Nikola Tesla remained celibate not because he feared lust, but because he transmuted it. That same energy fueled his obsession, his focus, his genius. The yogis in the East and Stoics in the West knew this too. When you master lust, you don't lose power, you unlock it. Imagine channeling your desires into your mission, into your art, into your health, your discipline, your relationships. Imagine waking up with clarity instead of craving, confidence instead of confusion. Most people waste years chasing pleasure, thinking it's happiness. But it's not, it's a mirage. And every time you give in without intention, you give away a piece of yourself. Piece by piece, you erode your willpower. But every time you say no, not out of guilt, but out of vision, you reclaim your strength. You shift from being driven by instinct to being driven by purpose. This is not a call to shame. It's a call to awaken, to see lust for what it is, a powerful force that you can wield or be enslaved by. The choice is yours. So, here's the question I want to leave you with. What could you build? What could you become if you stopped pouring your energy into empty desire and started investing it into something greater? Comment below. Have you tried transmuting lust into discipline or creativity? What changed for you? Or are you still in the thick of that battle, searching for clarity? This isn't about moral rules. It's about reclaiming your life force. Because the truth is, lust doesn't have to be your downfall. It can be your fuel. Imagine waking up and feeling absolutely free. Not free because you gave in to every urge, but free because nothing controls you anymore. No fleeting temptation, no hidden compulsion, no secret battle behind your eyes. That is the highest reward of mastering lust, transcendence. Most people think self-control is about sacrifice. But what if it's actually about expansion? When you conquer lust, not just resist it, but truly rise above it, you begin to see life with a sharper lens. What once clouded your vision now becomes fuel for clarity. That energy doesn't die. It evolves. It becomes discipline. It becomes focus. It becomes power. Most people think self-control is about sacrifice. But what if it's actually about expansion? When you conquer lust, not just resist it, but truly rise above it, you begin to see life with a sharper lens. What once clouded your vision now becomes fuel for clarity. That energy doesn't die, it evolves. It becomes discipline. It becomes focus. It becomes power. You're no longer swayed by every passing impulse or dopamine hit. Instead, you stand unshaken, directing your energy toward building a meaningful life. Your work gets deeper, your mind quieter, your relationships more genuine. You don't chase validation anymore. You radiate presence. You become someone others feel without needing to speak. This is what ancient sages knew. This is what warriors, creators, monks, and visionaries discovered in silence. When they stopped feeding lust, they didn't become less human. They became more aware, more potent, more alive. Lust was never the enemy. Attachment to it was. When you break free, you experience a kind of peace that most people never taste. It's not boredom, it's liberation. You don't have to scroll, swipe, chase, or escape. You just are. And in that stillness, you find strength. So let me ask you, what would your life look like if lust no longer held power over you? What could you create with that energy? Who would you become? Drop a comment below. Are you on this path already? Are you curious? Struggling? Inspired? Let's talk about it. Your story could be the spark that helps someone else rise. This isn't about moral perfection. It's about power, inner power, the kind of power that can't be bought, faked, or stolen, the kind that only comes when you stop giving your energy away and start reclaiming who you truly are. Mastering lust isn't the end of desire. It's the beginning of real freedom. There comes a moment, rare, profound, and irreversible, when you no longer fight lust because you've outgrown it, not by suppressing it, not by fearing it, but by transforming it into something far greater. This is the final stage, the moment when what used to enslave you now fuels you. You don't crave distractions, you crave purpose. You don't chase validation, you become it. You don't escape into fantasy, you build a reality so rich, you don't need to run from it. This is not about being cold or emotionless. It's the opposite. You feel more, you see more, you live more, because your energy isn't leaking out through every temptation. It's being channeled like a laser beam. You walk into a room and people feel something different. Not lust, not arrogance, but presence. A quiet, magnetic force that says, I know who I am, and I am not ruled by impulse. You begin to access what sages, monks, warriors, and mystics spoke of. The raw sexual energy that once distracted you becomes creative fire. The mental chaos becomes sharp clarity. You feel lighter yet stronger, calmer yet more focused. You're not just resisting, you're redirecting. You're creating. You're rising. You no longer look at life asking, what can I take? Instead you ask, what can I build? What can I give? This is the rebirth of masculinity, and femininity too, rooted not in suppression, but in mastery, in alchemy, in rising from chaos and becoming your highest self. So now ask yourself, what would your life look like if nothing pulled you away from your mission? Who would you be if your time, energy, and soul were no longer being drained by momentary pleasure, but used to carve your legacy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you just starting this journey? Are you deep into it? Have you felt glimpses of this power? Your story matters and someone out there needs to hear it. Because this isn't just about lust, it's about life, your real life, the one you were born to live, but can only reach when you rise above the noise and reclaim your crown. You don't just escape lust, you evolve beyond it. And when you do, you don't become less, you become unstoppable. Imagine waking up with a mind so clear, a heart so steady, that nothing external can shake your peace. No temptation, no distraction, no craving has the power to derail you. That's not just fantasy. That is the reward of mastering your desires, especially lust. When you conquer lust, you don't just win a battle. You unlock a new state of being, a version of you that sees the world differently. Your focus sharpens, your self-worth skyrockets, and your energy, it doesn't scatter. It builds, it expands, it creates. Lust, when left unchecked, is like a leak in your soul. It drains your time, your strength, your ambition. But once you plug that leak, once you stop handing your power over to fleeting pleasure, you realize just how much energy you were wasting. And when that energy returns to you, it becomes your secret weapon. That energy becomes clarity, drive, vision. Suddenly, you're not just surviving, you're creating. You're not chasing dopamine hits from a screen. You're building businesses, bodies, ideas, relationships that actually matter. Your confidence stops being a mask. It becomes your foundation. You're not seeking approval. You're not addicted to being seen. You're grounded in truth, in stillness, in a quiet kind of power that others feel before you say a word. But the reward doesn't stop there. Conquering lust rewires your brain, literally. Neuroscience now shows us that discipline strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the seat of rational thought, long-term planning, and willpower. So the more you resist, the more powerful your brain becomes. It's not just emotional or spiritual growth, it's biological evolution. You become sharper, stronger, more intentional. You become magnetic, not because of lust, but because of presence. And here's the question I leave you with. What are you doing with your energy? Is it fueling your vision, or are you leaking it away on things that leave you emptier? Be honest, reflect, then drop a comment below. Where are you on this journey? What has lust taken from you? And what will you build once you take that power back? This is not just self-help, it's self-resurrection. Because once you master yourself, you become unstoppable. And when that happens, the world feels it. In 2025, the greatest war isn't fought on battlefields, it's fought in the mind. We are living in a time where distraction is constant, temptation is digital, and instant gratification is just a click away. Lust doesn't just hide in shadows anymore. It lives in every algorithm, every scroll, every targeted ad designed to hijack your attention and fragment your focus. This is exactly why the story you just experienced is more relevant now than ever. It's not just about resisting physical temptation. It's about reclaiming your mind in a world designed to keep you weak, distracted, and emotionally dependent. The real takeaway in 2025 is this. If you don't master your desires, someone else will profit from them. Every moment you give in to unchecked impulse, whether it's porn, meaningless swipes, or escapist fantasy, you're handing over your energy, your creativity, your potential. But when you choose to resist, not out of repression, but out of transformation, you begin to take your life back. You stop being a consumer of pleasure and start becoming a creator of purpose. You stop being controlled and start becoming conscious. What you should pay attention to through this story is not just the ancient wisdom or the historical examples. It's the call to action for your current life. The message is timeless, but the urgency is now. In 2025, we are more overstimulated and emotionally disconnected than ever before. But this gives you an incredible opportunity to stand out by going within, to be different, to be disciplined, to be dangerous, not because you're chaotic, but because you're in control. Mastery in this era is rebellion, and those who can conquer their lust are no longer puppets of the system, they become its architects. You hold the pen, you write your story. So ask yourself, how much more could you create if your energy wasn't scattered? What could you build, change, or become if your focus was unstoppable? The path isn't easy, but it is real. And if you commit to it, 2025 won't just be another year. It will be the year you begin to rise.